Hey everyone, it's Frank from the Microsoft Surface marketing team. Hey, I'm here today, kind of another special opportunity. And it's almost like guess where Frank is next. I'm in a coffee shop today, and I am in Seattle, kind of a big coffee town. But what's cool about this, I'm on a Surface Laptop 5G for business. This is a Copilot Plus PC with an Intel Core Ultra Series 2 processor. That's a mouthful, but it's my pleasure to be able to introduce Lola Bryan. Lola is the Director of Customer and Partner Experiences at Microsoft Surface, team that we're both part of. And I actually work with Lola almost every day. So it's great to see you again, Lola. How you doing?
Hey, Frank, I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm good. This is a Copilot Plus PC, and so it has an NPU inside of it, which is an AI chip that essentially can run a model locally on the device. And that model, in this case, is doing all the echo cancellation, and I don't know all the fancy details. That's why I'm in marketing. I just talk about this stuff. But there's some other cool stuff because I know that as I was walking even in here and setting the device down, this display is pretty wild. I find it like it's certainly adaptive towards the different lighting conditions I have. And I don't know if you've got any information that you can share on that.
Yeah, so the display is probably one of the best features of this device, and it's factory calibrated with adaptive color. And what that means is, regardless of the lighting of the environment that you're in, you will have consistent visuals. It does not matter what the lighting is like in that environment. And I think that is super.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's got to test it out for themselves, but trust me, it is pretty amazing. But hey, you're on a team that essentially listens to that voice of the customer. You're kind of like the tip of the spear there. And I know our customers, I've been on this team for a while, as have you, and they've been asking for 5G in a laptop, and here it is. So I wonder, like, how did you bring that to life?
So I'm glad you asked that, because we do take customer and partner feedback really seriously. And as you could imagine, we get a lot of feedback. And for 5G in particular, we had over 100 enterprise customers who gave us feedback about this device. But we wanted to make sure that we built the right device with the right form factor so that we would actually meet our customers and partners' needs. And so part of that was building a laptop. That was key to this whole scenario of how people were going to be using this device. It turns out that most of us commute to and from work, and some of us take public transportation. So maybe you're taking a bus or a train, and sometimes, that time is wasted. Guess what? You can be sitting on that train or bus, have that laptop on your lap where it belongs, and you have that familiar keyboard, you have that great display, you have that on the go performance and that great battery life. And having that 5G connection, again, like you mentioned, it's a private connection. You don't have to leverage your hotspot. And for a lot of people, that can be a little bit of a privacy concern. Like, they want to keep their personal stuff personal and their work stuff with work. And so not having to pull out their phone every time they wanted to be productive on the device was super important.
Yeah, well, I think about that because I think that leads into my next question. When I think about this device, I think, hey, I could have been using a hotspot. I could have been using essentially some other sketchy Wi-Fi that's, who knows who's snooping in on that thing. But I wonder, when it comes to actually building it in, and there's not a lot of laptops that have 5G out there, what's the difference of having connectivity actually built into the device itself?
Yeah. So when you have that connectivity built right into the device, you have consistent access to all of your files, your apps, your meetings. You don't have to worry about, lapsed meetings or interrupted phone calls or syncing that doesn't work because all of a sudden the connectivity got messed up. So you have super consistent access to everything that you're doing. You're not disruptive. The setup is like, how long did it take you to get connected when you got to the cafe today?
I didn't even think about it, right? I
Exactly.
just, I didn't have to think about, am I on Wi-Fi? Am I on 5G? I just
Mhm.
open up my device and I just get to work.
So it's seamless and you're connected, and all you have to do is just think about the work that you have to do, that next meeting that you have to get ready for. And so you can just be productive right from the start.
That raises a question though, because talk about right from the start, when we deploy these devices, we secure them, we manage these devices. These are enterprise devices. And
Mhm.
I have to wonder when it comes down to it, how does an enterprise organization that like Microsoft or any other out there really feel about being able to manage a 5G device out in the wild?
So it turns out that IT departments really like the 5G device because what it gives them is access to all of these endpoints, these devices that previously would have been offline and they wouldn't know anything about these devices. Like when was the last time they had a security patch? When were they updated with new policies? So this 5G capability finally gives them insight to manage all of the devices in their network, in their field, and it gives them the ability to patch those devices, apply those policies, make sure that all of those devices are supported, are secure, and that they know exactly where those devices are across all of the sites that that company might have.
That brings up a thought. Like when I actually set this device up for the first time, and I didn't have to use IT in order to do it, I
Mhm.
just put a SIM card inside of it and I booted it. But the first thing it did is it actually found my 5G connection, and it didn't require me to connect to the internet. I actually
Mhm.
was able to use my cellular provider in order to deploy this device. And I used Windows Autopilot in order to do it because that's how Microsoft deploys all of our Surface devices in our organization. There had to have been a lot of engineering when it goes into a
Mhm.
device, because when I woke up this morning and decided to come down to this coffee shop to have a conversation with you,
Mhm.
the one thing that I forgot or I didn't even think about because of this device is I didn't bring a power supply with me. What did Surface and Intel in this case
Mhm.
do to kind of bring this device to life? Like there had to have been some considerations as to how to make sure that this device can last all day long.
Absolutely. And that is also one of the great things about this device is the co-engineering that happened between Intel and Microsoft. So when you have that ability to co-engineer right from the start, you can optimize things like power. You can maximize reliability of wireless. And what that does is it creates this seamless, confident experience in your connection from the get-go. Exactly. Exactly.
Like I've noticed that even if I did start running low on power after running for a couple days, I noticed that this low power mode came on. And I'm not quite sure what all that conserves, but it feels like it's like an extra tank of gas that's strapped to the side of my SUV that I can kind of put into the device. To me, that kind of contributes to the idea that connectivity and the design of the device have really gone into how to allow people to stay in their flow. And so I
Mhm.
don't know if you've got anything else to share on being able to stay in their flow and just more feel natural as to how we're able to interact with this device.
When you don't have to think about your connection or fight your display, you can just let the work happen.
So, one of the last things I want to close out with is
Mhm.
hey, if you have questions about this device, make sure you check out the Surface for Business website. But Lola, maybe I know that you lead that team that kind of listens to the voice of the customer. Any last pointers on how they can reach out and give you advice on how to build and the advice towards bringing new feature sets like
Mhm.
5G to our future devices?
So we welcome feedback from our customers and partners. So if there is anything that you have to share with us, please reach out to your seller, reach out to your reseller, and give them that feedback so that we can incorporate it into our next set of products. Because that is super important to us to listen to our customers and build what you want, just like we did with the 5G laptop.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, thanks so much to everyone. Thank you, Lola, for joining us. I'm
Mhm.
going to finish this cup of coffee, but I'm going to say bye for now.